I start simple and easy. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Thank you for the mercy of your cessation. Just. They got one. You got enough. Okay. I've got a handout, so don't worry. End bit of the handout's missing. I think in there. Omiyada Tivrandasya Yananjana Salaka Kaksurum Militam Yena Taksme Sri Guru Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jana Bhutale Swayarupa Kadamayam Dati Swapandikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavascha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sijavam Sadvitam Savadutam Parijanaya Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vatamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopikanta Dava Kanta Namostate Tapta Kramcha Gorangi Radha Vasari Vrisabham Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Malcha Kalpa Trupascha Vipasundraya Evacha Patitanam Padavayo Vaisnavayo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you for your kind association. It's always giving mercy, giving others the chance to talk about Bhagavad Gita. So, this verse is, when I have a bit of a personal relationship with this verse, because I was looking at some of the verses that I should memorize, and this was one of the ones that came to me as being one that I should know. And then, not surprisingly, but thankfully, it's also one of the verses that on the ISKCON Bhakti Shastri course is one of the verses to memorize on the one-year course as well. So the verse is quite a significant verse. In some ways it goes with the next verse, which we'll discuss as well. But someone can read it if you want, or I can read it. Who would like to have it? It can't be as bad as me doing it, so go. You don't have anything to worry about.
You mean the translation or the?
No, just the Sanskrit. Well, the English Sanskrit.
Yeah, Bogishwarya.
Yep.
Prashat Tanam.
Yep.
Taya Paratha.
Yeah.
Was that
Chitasana.
Taya Pa?
That's right.
Vita. Okay. Setasam.
Yeah.
Vyasa. Yakmika.
Yep.
Buddhi.
Yep.
Samadhu na vidhiyate.
Translation.
In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination of devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place.
Brilliant. Verse 2.44 in Bhagavad Gita. So, just a bit of context here. Chapter 1 was observing the armies in the battlefield. We spoke about the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita last week. And chapter 2 is the contents of the Bhagavad Gita summarized. And in this chapter there is, because the summary of the Bhagavad Gita, there are stages in this summary, chapter 2. And the first stage is refusal to fight. I'm not going to fight. It starts off, 2.7. Because I've been overtaken by miserly weakness, Arjuna sees Bhishma and Drona and all his relatives. He says, I'm overtaken by miserly weakness. Verse 2.7, I don't know where my duty lies. I'm asking now, surrendering unto you, you be my guide, Krishna, and you will show me the path of what to do. He's completely overwhelmed. How can people he loves so much want to kill him for a piece of land? For a devotee, it doesn't make any sense. So we have that surrendering verse, 2.7, and then we go through the stages of chapter 2, where Arjuna, because this is a dialogue, he's saying, well, what about this? Krishna saying, what about this argument? And Arjuna saying, that's an interesting argument, but I don't like that argument. I don't buy that. Give me another better argument. So it starts off with, you're not the soul, you're not the body, you're the soul. Don't worry about, even if you think you're the body, what does it matter? Just dead people. Why get so attached to that? That's not very convincing from Arjuna's point of view. So we go to the next level in chapter 2, which is, well, if you win the battle, or even if you die, you will get to the heavenly planets. Heavenly planets, if you die, if you win the battle, you get the riches on the earth. So Krishna is saying, wealth, come on, you're going to get wealth, my boy. Fight. Gold here, or enjoyment of the heavenly planets. So this is very popularly known as karma kanda, Vedic religiosity. So you do some sacrifice, and you get some benefit. It's a transactional relationship with the divine, or not even the divines, but the demigods can be as well, which is dharma. So Arjuna's not too happy with this argument. So then Krishna is like, okay, you're a bit of a pain in the backside, Arjuna. You should have taken one of these two arguments. Most people would have fallen for them. But Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, and therefore they're having this conversation for all of us. So he's not accepting that line as well. So there's a pivot, quite a big pivot in this chapter, which is Arjuna's question of 2.54. Because Krishna then says to him eventually, well, you can do it out of some sort of bigger arrangement. Don't want to act without the fruits of your labors. Give your fruits away. And then you can act above that is even in transcendence. You act in some sort of divine. Okay? So we see these processes, and if you look out there in the world, you'll see people that have different motivations. And most people are in a transactional relationship. They're doing something, they get something in return. They do a job, doesn't matter if they don't love it, they get money, they get something in return. So Arjuna was not buying this kind of transactional, even if it was something in the afterlife or some wealth on the planet after winning the war. He did not want this. He wanted to, he said there must be a deeper meaning why I must kill these people. That is not good enough for me. Now, the Kauravas, Duryodhana was fighting for land, for wealth, and that stuff. They were at that level. Arjuna is a much higher level of devotee. So 2.54, as Krishna explains to him, as we get to 2.54, what is the higher and higher levels, Arjuna is asking Krishna, so what is this person who's situated in transcendence? What is the symptoms of such a person? So this is the symptoms of a devotee. This is the symptoms of somebody who's above the modes of nature. It's the last part of chapter 2. Is where the end point of the Bhagavad Gita goes, which is fighting for Krishna himself. So this verse is just one of the verses that comes up before we get to the situation of how to go become a devotee, and act for Krishna rather than acting for yourself. So it explains to you what happens to those. Why is it that people do not fall into devotional service? Why is it they are captured by just doing mundane karmic acts in this world and getting karmic repercussions. So Krishna is talking about the symptoms of somebody who's materially minded. And when we understand that, we understand that that's not where we would need to be. So somebody spiritually minded should be the opposite. So if we look at the verse, in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, so bhoga, material enjoyment, opulence, and bewildered by such things, the resolute determination of devotional service and Supreme Lord does not take place. So, in our actions, we have two choices. We have the path of sense enjoyment, material enjoyment, or we have the path of Krishna's enjoying for Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure. Yeah? So, we can live our days with, what can I get out of this day for myself? Thinking you're the body, thinking you're the owner, or what can I get out of this day for Krishna? Two completely different visions. And the reason why people get stuck on the material platform is explained here. Because they want to enjoy it for themselves. They want to ignore that everything is belonging to Krishna. They're thinking this car, this family, this house, this food, it's a reaction of what I have done. The ego is saying, I did this, therefore I belong. This belongs to, I get to enjoy. And therefore they're so obsessed with themselves in the bodily conception, there's no room for bhakti. Because if you're the doer and enjoyer, why let somebody else share? You want to be the selfish person that shares. You don't want to bring someone else to sharing it. I mean, if you look at the world today, people aren't going around, hey, my neighbour, I've got a spare car. I've noticed that you've only got one car or no car, do you want to borrow one of my cars? We don't have that kind of society. We have a society of, I enjoy, it's mine. This body is mine, everything related to the body that I've achieved is mine, and no one else can get to touch it. So this is the entrapment of the embodied soul, the bodily concept life after life. It's fundamental to what is being taught in the Bhagavad Gita. So, which is that all actions that are selfish, to do with the concept of this is belongs to the body, and the body is the actor. Yeah? Those actions lead to further karmic bodies, karmic reactions and further bodies. Yeah? If you enjoy for this body for yourself and not for Krishna, that is a karmic reaction that will result at some point in another body in the material world. That's the first rule of Krishna laying down the Bhagavad Gita. One of the first rules explained. So if I want to not be tied to further karmic reactions and we come back as another body, and another body, another body, sometimes a plant, sometimes a deer, sometimes a tiger, then I have to stop acting for my own selfish pleasure. Which is very difficult. It's like, this is why the process is difficult, practical level. Imagine you're going to a company, and that company is like Apple in 1995 when Steve Jobs came back. So the company's going downwards. It's got all the wrong products. It's doing all the wrong sales pitches. It's going to the wrong part of the market. It's selling nappies for 3-year-olds to 55-year-olds. All its sales literature has got pictures of 55-year-old men on it. They're trying to sell nappies. You know, all the investment is going into the wrong arm of the research. Further nappies for 55-year-olds. And you're sitting there and you have to turn this company around to make it profitable again. So you've got to turn it back into a nappy business for babies. It's not that you can just come in and start doing it and telling the staff, no, don't stop doing that, because all these habits have been formed by all these groups of teams of people in this big corporation. So you're going to have to go away somewhere, sit by a lake and go, how do I change the behavior of this company? So if you want to live each day not for yourself, but for Krishna, you have to say, stop, pause and think. How do I stop being selfish? What is it I'm doing that's selfish? How do I stop it? And how do I start living this day for Krishna? If you wake up in the morning and you're not asking yourself, this is a day for Krishna, not a day of bhakti and service, let me make sure everything is for Krishna, then you are in this material enjoyment and opulence. Because Srila Prabhupada makes the point many times, it's not possible for the soul to be inactive. It has to enjoy one side of the fence or the other side of the fence. It has to enjoy for itself, being the pleasure taker, or it has to be pleasure giver for the Lord. Yeah? Seeing everything as belonging to the Lord. So this is a difficult concept, because actually since we're children, we're told this is your exam, this is your lunch, this is your bag for school, this is your bed, this is your room, it's not your brother's room. These are your clothes, they're not your sister's clothes. These are your toys, your brother shouldn't share with them. Yeah. This is your lunch, this is your dinner, it's for you. But what is this you? You is not been told as the body. So everyone is brainwashed. They think this thing belongs to them. But this material energy doesn't belong to you, it belongs to Krishna. So when people say, oh, I'm going to go and have an ice cream, enjoy for myself, actually you're not this body. It doesn't make any sense from a Vedic point of view. From a Bhagavad Gita point of view, it makes no sense. You enjoy for the body. It's actually completely, it's like saying salad, fish, eat porridge. It doesn't make any sense, that sentence. Yeah. Because the body can't enjoy for itself. Only the soul is the pleasure taker and giver. So then, if you think about your position of that company, how do you get the nappies to the right part of the market? How do you stop selling it to the old person? How do you change the production lines? There's a lot of thinking that has to go on, a lot of change of behavior. It's not like you can suddenly get, if the company has 2,000 people, to behave by Monday in a completely different way. You need a program of organizational behavior change. You need to recruit different people. You need to surround yourself with different types of thinkers. So we say satsang, sadhu satsang, we surround ourselves with devotees. So to make your life about Krishna and realize this body actually doesn't even belong to me, I'm stealing it. I shouldn't be here in the first place. It requires wholesale mental and physical action-based reformation. And that's why it's so difficult. You can't just turn up every day. As soon as the mind slips, the breakfast becomes about you. What happens after breakfast becomes about you. And then when I say you mean your body. You think you're the body. This tongue is mine. I will enjoy chocolate bar. No, the tongue is not yours, it belongs to Krishna, so there's chocolate bar. So where's the bhakti in eating the chocolate bar? People are not asking this question. So you have to ask that question. Everything has to come out of love. So as soon as you are, every bit you're selfish, enjoying for the body, there's a vacuum, there's a space being pushed out. Krishna has been pushed out at that moment in the day. And that's where the difficulty in bhakti is coming in. People are saying, I'm struggling with my bhakti, I'm forgetting about Krishna, something like that. And it's like, well, it's because you've got too much obsessed with the body. You still think you're the body. But Krishna is very merciful, and because of Srila Prabhupada, you can do some very small practical things like chant, which displaces the material energy from you. And chanting the holy name is so powerful because it embodies Krishna himself, that chanting is one of the ways to accelerate living no more for the body, living for the real need of the soul. Right? And this leads to something, this verse leads to something very fundamental and important in Krishna consciousness. Because actually material enjoyment is not, if you look at it in terms of happiness, is not real happiness. Okay? The best way to understand this is, if I give an alcoholic a beer, and I put a drop of beer in the glass, I fill it up with water, and I go have a drink it, they're not going to be very happy, because it doesn't taste of anything. But it's only if you've had the pleasure of bhakti, then you suddenly realize there's a difference between the one drop of beer and the full beer. Yeah. The pleasure taken for the body even if it's not very permanent, but actually the level of it is like 0.01%, almost nothing. But the deeper pleasure of bhakti is so much, makes you so much happier, you actually think this is not pleasure, this is not happiness. That's what Srila Prabhupada is getting at. Yeah. Over time, when you feel that pleasure, you realize that this is, I don't want this. I don't want to live for myself. So actually material enjoyment, not only is it not real enjoyment, because it's not what the soul needs, it actually karmically binds you back into this material world, like birth after birth after birth. Right? It's actually dangerous. It takes you further away from Krishna. So what we are doing is, the soul's natural state of affairs is to be deeply happy, profoundly happy. That's where it's most comfortable. But because we have denying the only way we can really be happy, which is by serving the Lord, we are now engrossed in fake happiness. This Bhogasvara, and we're becoming unduly attached, because the more we try and seek pleasure, the more it goes. Yeah? I'll speak to any old person, you can see the knees aren't working, the legs aren't quite what they were, even they can't even taste the food they used to enjoy. It's so temporary. Yeah? But someone in bhakti, it doesn't matter if the body is 75, it's not important. They're getting the pleasure from something beyond the body. It doesn't matter if they're 5 or 75 as long as they're, because that pleasure is eternal. That's just natural nature of the soul. So the reason we're attached to this is because we've been conditioned by many, many, many lifetimes. Yeah? Previous lives of being attracted to the material energy constantly. We got the eyes, the ears, and the mouth, and the tongue, and the genitalia because we wanted to enjoy this material world. Yeah? And now we're in this difficult situation of having to restructure our thinking, so we have to use everything for Krishna. Now, one of the things that, on a practical level, hamper people is how they chant. This is like very fundamental to like effective progress in getting yourself off the material energy drug. If you see Krishna consciousness or ISKCON as a rehabilitation clinic of your soul and of your behavior, how you take the drugs and whether you take the tablets every day properly is going to accelerate your recovery out of the clinic. Yeah? So I see a lot of people, and I'm not saying anyway, I'm always chanting every beat perfectly. It's not the case. Humbly I say that, but you have to be aware of where you can slip up. So there are a lot of people who are chanting. I've seen in the temple here, maybe not just here, but here, where the people are chanting, looking around, chanting like this. And that's like, Krishna is the Maha Mantra, he's the holy name, right? So imagine you bring Krishna into your living room, and then say Krishna is here, he's sitting opposite you, starting to chant, you do this. It's not a way to progress in bhakti. It's not going to happen like that, You have to, another thing that is, just actually over time you will see that because the japa session is so important to getting the material effects and the material energy off you, and therefore attracting you to the spiritual, to Krishna. It's so important to get these fundamental things right, to accelerate your bhakti. So when you're chanting, it's not also doing it too fast. And Krishna, it doesn't help, because again, that's like, Krishna, welcome to my living room. How are you? How was today? Was it good? Was it difficult? Oh, that sounds bad. Okay, have a cup of tea quickly. I've got to go. Yeah, anything else, Krishna? Thank you. Yeah. That's not going to develop a relationship with your guest that you've now invited through chanting the holy name. The guest is like, I don't want to go back to that guy's house. Give me a break, It's not something that he wants to do. You can't do the japa session like that, But if you really want the guest, right? Imagine you're a kid, right? And you're 10 years old, and you're inviting your best friend around to be with you, right? What do kids do? They'll climb up to the 3rd floor of the house and look out the window. Where's my friend? Come on, he's coming. They'll get up 2 hours before the friend turns up. It's the way kids approach it with an open heart. And then the friend turns up. It's like, oh, come play. And they're really spending, like, really focused on this other kid that's turned up, right? And that's the way you have to approach your japa. Like in the morning, when Krishna comes in, through the holy name, it has to be, wow, this is the most exciting thing. Krishna is here in the holy name. Wow, this is incredible. Yeah? I'm going to just chant. It's like having chocolate in your mouth. It's like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Every bead is like, wow, this is, what a mercy on me. I'm just like this fallen soul that many births I'm just completely deaf and like not listening to the Lord, ignoring the Lord, and that's why I've got a material body. But now I've got a chance. Now, imagine a kid that never had any friends, and somebody comes into the living room as a friend. Approach it every morning with that attitude, that enthusiasm, because everyone in Krishna consciousness is an amazing journey. To stop being reborn, that's an incredible thing. After so many lives, you are going to make it out of here and not have to come back to the material world. You know? Because once you start the journey, Krishna is always going to pull you towards him. You know? He sees that you've managed to make that big difference of there's something fishy about this material world, I want to move on. But if you want to do it in this lifetime, you've got Srila Prabhupada has done all the hard work for you. He's gone around the world, opened all the temples. He's made a requirement of 16 rounds early in the morning. You know, you only have to jump on the back of his boat. He's done the hard work between himself and Krishna. And because he's so dear to Krishna, Krishna will allow it that way. You don't have to do 100 rounds a day, you have to do 16. But in those 16 rounds, you can do it in such a way that, if you think about it this way, if Krishna suddenly appeared in your living room, how would you react? So Krishna is waiting for the right attitude to appear in your house, in your living room. You know, he wants to like make sure you don't make a mess of it. You know? So that approach to the japa of really trying, you know, to do it, even though the mind is trying to wander or whatever. You know? And then everything will come easier and easier because you understand, I'm not the body, I'm not the physical body, I'm not the mind. The mind is just some things of sense objects that come in from the day before. Some people chanting and they're thinking about the football school or something like that. Or, yeah, but these are just things they've watched on the news which they shouldn't have wasted their time on entering into. But that's concoctions of the mind. Whether this will happen at work or this client will do this or whatever. You know, we have to just go, that's just the mind. That's like, imagine you had a bit of an itch, which is part of the physical body. The thoughts are part of the mind, which is just a part of the subtle body. None of those things are permanent, because the body and the mind are going to go. At the end of life, it's not permanent. So don't worry about what the mind is telling you. So this is important because if we don't do this, and we go out into the material world, especially if you have to work or interact with society out there, you could easily slip from being above the modes to being within the modes, which is goodness, passion, ignorance. When you're within the mode, you're creating karma. Yeah. In Prabhupada, it's beautifully written in the 14th chapter in the commentary to the mode of goodness. Even these people who are doing good academic theory work or researching against stopping cancer, all that is sense gratification. It's actually everything in the material world is temporary. The embodied soul world is temporary. The reason they're in the material world, getting illnesses and diseases and so on, because of part of their karmic history. Yeah. And we don't want to deny that because we want to be the controller. We not only want to have the body, we want to try and cure the body as well, so we can really play God. Yeah. And that's why even in the mode of goodness, you're still constantly bound to birth after birth after birth, unless you're lucky enough to meet a devotee. Yeah. So, the practical side of it is you have to start in the morning and the night before and go, what's my plan tomorrow for Krishna? How am I going to live tomorrow for Krishna? What's my attitude for my japa? And what else am I doing for Krishna? Not, I did 16 rounds, or I did 10 rounds, or whatever it is, and I've done that now. I get some brownie points from God. Now I'll go, what shall I go do? I'll go to the cafe in the work and eat 10 biscuits for myself, if I feel like it. And then I'll have gossip of this person. I like the appearance of that person. I'll talk about clothes from that person. Back in the material enjoyment. You know? Yeah, your little, whatever little thing you do is going to help you. But if you want to get out of here and really go, actually, you know what? This material world is not really the best place. It may be good for me at the moment. I'm well, I'm young, but I can see it's not going to be good for me in the future. Then you have to take proactive steps, you know. And one of the core messages in this con is take the proactive steps. You know, the smart person does things before they happen. You know? They take the proactive steps. You want to be really well in your bhakti when you're young and well, not when you're like old and you have to drag yourself to the temple because I forgot about God. You know, I didn't spend much time with Him. You know, because like knocking on the door and going, imagine you had a friend at school when you're 18, and then you knock on the door at 60 and go, oh, sorry, I forgot about you, but could you mind if I come in and be friends with you again because I'm a bit lonely? And where were you for the last 42 years? Well, I was other things I was doing. I was enjoying myself. You weren't so important to me. That's not a really good, honest way to start a relationship. It just isn't. You know? If you want to really get closer and closer to somebody, you might as well start now, trying to be friends with them. And there's no greater friend than Krishna. There just isn't. You know? That's the person you want to be spending most of your time with. Because that's what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be in some eternal relationship in one of the 5 rasas with Krishna. That's your natural state. You know, every soul will have a natural rasa with Krishna. Swarupa, you need to get back to that state. So the work has to be done now to get back to that state. Okay? And it's not going to be easy because many lifetimes have been in the material body. So it's like, imagine you are a heroin addict. You've got to come off heroin. And you're not going to like it because you initially are going to be like, oh, I'm content, I want the drug, I want the drug, I want the drug, you know. And eventually, after practice, the right kind of people around you, alcoholics get out of it quicker with friends around them. You know. We're like this alcoholic anonymous society actually, from a certain point of view. We're all trying to get out of the material enjoyment, right? So we just stick together. It's what it is, right? We've all had these millions and millions of births. We've had this tendency to enjoy matter. Right? But now we need to help each other get out of it. You know? Our false ego and attachment to the material world, we bring in these conceptions. I'm not going to talk about my problems and my material attachments. Maybe somebody else talk. You know. But we'll have all the material vices. We've got a material body. It's like it's there. You know. We've just got to get out of our system. You know. When the Alcoholic Anonymous talks, they're like, who's going to go first? Well, I first started drinking, you know. And we don't have the memory of our previous lives. You know, I first fell from the spiritual world to the material world. I don't remember exactly when it was, but you know, I had a drink last week. Last week I watched Netflix programs which were slightly saucy. You know, I shouldn't have done that. You know, but we need to talk about these things. Then we can go, okay, well, you know, how's it, you know, what rehab activities to do? How's the japa come about? You know, if we don't talk about it, how are you going to progress? Get out of rehab. How's it not going to happen unless you talk to each other, be each other's doctors. That's the way you've got to look at it. Because you're stuck in the body. It's very difficult to get out of the body conception of life. You know, you've got to really, really want to get out of it. Really got to want to get through rehab. You know, if you're a victim of, you know, a car crash or some physical impediment, you have to work hard with physiotherapy to get out. This is a drug clinic of enjoyment. You've got to work hard to get out of it. You know, get rehab. So what you're doing is really amazing, but now you've got to go, okay, what's the next level? What's the next level of my rehab? You know? You'll know when it's working. You'll know when you want to go up a mountain and just do 40 rounds or something. It'll happen to you. If it hasn't happened to you already, you know, you'll get that. Once it does, you go, oh, yeah, I can feel the effects of the heroin that I was taking for so many years. Even some of the little needle things in my arm were healing up, you know, something like that. Yeah, going up. But you'll feel like the equivalent of that in Bhakti, you'll feel it. The mature energy. This verse is about tells you why you don't go into bhakti deeper, because you've still got attraction to the material energy. It's verse 2.44 of the Bhagavad Gita. Important. That's why it's an important verse. Right? It's telling you, okay, what more bhakti can you do today, and why don't you want to do that? Now, if you've got a family obligation or work obligation, fair enough. If you've got another hour or two free and it's about playing video games or something, and you've still got an addiction, you've still got a heroin problem, so you need to bring some Krishna into that somehow. I'm always available. If somebody wants to go, hey, 6 or 7, I think I might play video games, do you want to do some Kirtan? Just give me a text, I'll come around and do it. I've got an ambulance, a Bhakti ambulance, I'll just come and help you. Right? Okay, here's another opportunity for me to serve and get out of here faster. I get more rehab points that way. Doctors release me quicker to the world. So that's the way I see it anyway. So, but if you help each other, Krishna accelerates much more. Much more. Imagine this material world is a prison as well, from Bhagavad Gita, and it's the reformatory prison. It's designed to refine your intentions of getting out of here and reform your conduct. And as soon as you help the other prisoners, well, you're ready to go back into society, aren't you? You're ready to, because you don't want to harm people, you don't want to steal from them. You want to go back and help them, so you can go back and be a normal citizen again. So as soon as you help other people in their bhakti, you're making that big leap towards what the spiritual world is like. Everyone's helping everyone else. They don't want anything selfish for themselves. And it's hard. I mean, I've been brainwashed as a child. Everything's about you, your career, your legal degree. You. What is you? You mean I? What am I? I'm not this body. These qualifications don't belong to me. It belongs to God. It's just previous karma that God has allocated to me. So there's demigods in the working of the material world. I'm attached to something that he's going to be here for 1 second. Maharaj Yudhishthira was asked, by Yamaraj, the lake, the Mahabharata, what is the greatest wonder? Very famous question, very famous answer. The greatest wonder is each day death strikes and people still live as if they're immortal. I mean, you've got to believe this drug addiction is not going to last. It just isn't. You're going to, physically, the body's going to go. Stop being attached to it. It's just not going to be there. The face you look in the mirror, it died thousands of years ago from a random point of view in time. Like the freaking dinosaurs, they're gone. It's not you, that's not who you are. You're this eternal soul that is naturally in love with God. And you're denying your natural, it's like Marlon Brando or one of these great actors like, who's the guy, he's the English guy, son of the poet, Abraham Lincoln, whatever his name is, Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis decides he's going to play in children's theatre his whole life. One of the greatest actors of all time in the West, playing children's theatre. He doesn't want to be himself. He's in self-denial. Denial about his true nature, which is a loving servant of God, which is what's going to make him really happy. This is the funny thing about this. Where you're going to be really happy is being a loving servant of God, but you still want the unhappiness. The heroin addicts, they're going to be better off without the heroin, but they still want the heroin, right? So, Bhogeshwara Prasad. So this verse is one of the benchmark verses of how am I behaving, where are my mind and senses going to, how can I bring them back, what's my plan to control my senses? You need a senses control plan, you need a drug rehabilitation plan to get you out of the clinic, get you through the clinic now into the spiritual world. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a written plan, you're going to struggle. Right? 78% of people are more successful in reaching their goals if they write them down. You need to have a notebook somewhere which says goal back to Godhead. There has to be one in your life. I think there's $6 in Kmart for 4 of them, just to get one. But my goal in my life is go back to Godhead. How? And suddenly you see, denial, I don't even want to get the notebook, I don't want to write it down, I'm in denial. Start that with the first 5. Just make yourself do it. Make yourself do it. My goal is to get back to Godhead and go, oh, okay, that's my goal. That's my goal. Okay. Now what do you do about it? What's your target? What's your monthly, weekly, annual targets for that? Where are they? No, you can't progress without goals. It's not possible. That's why I have things like, do the initiation, do the pre-initiation stuff. Or they have all these things because it just gives people a target. Your targets can be different. It could be, I'm going to learn this canto of the Bhagavad, whatever it is. That's going to purify me because this canto is important. You can go and ask people, which one should I learn? There's lots of people in this content to help you. But you've got to have your goals. Otherwise, you don't want to do the action to get to the goal. Then you're just floating. If you're being proactive, it's because really deep down you're still attracted to the material energy. That's the only reason. If you're not attracted to material energy, you want to be spiritual. Right. Here ends the lessons. Any questions?
Nope.
Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah, how can we get disenchanted?
Okay, how do you get taste enchanting? Good question. Okay. So I think there's the physical aspects of chanting, and then I'll call the spiritual aspects. If I just split them in two. Generally, you have to get all the spiritual aspects correct, and they help with the physical aspects correct, and they help with the spiritual aspects. And I'll explain why. So, if you want to progress in chanting, you want to try and do it before 6 a.m, preferably before 5 a.m. Start, because you just get a much bigger benefit. I'll explain why. You've got to do good chanting. You have to control. You have to have good sleeping. So if you wrote a list of how do I chant, let's say your list is, my goal is to go back to Godhead. Sub-list, sub-target, get my chanting correct. Sub-target of that would be, got to get my sleeping correct. I've got to make sure I'm in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock. Right? Because how can you get up and have high quality chanting at 4:30 in the morning? It's just not possible. So it might be that the only thing you work on, the way I did it was, I only focused on getting up, going to sleep early, and waking up early. So I knew if I did that, the chanting would work itself out. That was from Jnana Yoga, so I'll explain that in a minute. So the physical aspect. Secondly, it's like where you chant, where you sit. If you lie on the sofa, I'm not saying you're going to do this, but if you lie on the sofa like this, chanting, I could do my chanting, you're not going to get very far. Right? Because it doesn't allow the mind to focus. You normally should sit on the floor. If you can't do that yet, sit on the chair, but towards the edge of the chair. Just with your head erect. And the first thing is to get up early and just get through the rounds. I wouldn't worry about the quality of them, get the physical aspect of the rounds right. And make sure you're doing 16 rounds in one go. Right? Unless the only people I've known that got away with not doing 16 rounds in one go, and they don't do it very often, are people who've lived as brahmacharis in a temple for about 50 years. And the reason they're not doing that is because they're going to pay a deity or something. So they can do 8 rounds, and they'll probably do it at 3 in the morning, pay a deity for 2 hours, and do another 8 rounds. But still have all the rounds done by 6:30. But you want to do, if you're trying to progress the initial stages, you want to do your 16 rounds early in the morning. And the mechanics of doing the round is, I went from just doing the rounds quickly to get them done, and my progress was minimal because some of those mantras went into my song. In Paramatma, Krishna's a super soul sword. But progress was slow. When I really started progressing, I was chanting, and if I felt I went to 2 beads and I hadn't chanted properly on 1 bead, I'd stop on that bead and do two rounds on that, two times the mantra on that bead. So I always pull myself back. And then, like nowadays, if I do 16 rounds, I always do 16 rounds plus 15 beads, minimum. I call it my overrun. So if I've made an error, I've forgotten the holy name, I'll make sure it's done. Right? Because this is the physical aspect of it. And having your arm in the right place, if you're starting off, not trying to lift your arm up because it gets tiring, muscular-wise. Maybe trying to put it in rest, maybe have some pillows for your arm as well, because it takes a while to kind of be able to sit there. Doing some sort of hip flexibility exercises if you're going to sit like this for a while. Those physical things help. Now, that has a spiritual impact because Krishna is in the heart of the super soul, the Paramatma, he's seeing. And every little bit of effort you put in, he's seeing that as you're trying to come closer to him. So he's going to actually allow it to happen. So somebody who's very careful with their childhood, they get up early, they think about it, they make sure they go to sleep at night, or they go to sleep reading Bhagavad or something. They're in the mindset of Krishna's, they've got a spiritual hour before they go to sleep and turn their eyes off. They're not doing anything material at that point. They're preparing for, as if they've got to do play a sports final the next day. They prepare for Japa the day before. They get up, 4:30, 3 o'clock. I mean, nowadays I'm trying to do 3 rounds before 4:30, 8 rounds before 4:30. Sometimes it doesn't always happen, but you know. But I think also when you're doing the rounds, it's Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and you understand Krishna's there. And it's just, even if you start doing 1 or 2 beats like that, and let's say the rest of it is a middle, and then you do more and more. So okay, I did 16 rounds, but I actually did 8 quality beats. You know, Krishna sees the effort. Krishna will allow. He controls the two energy. He's in every subatomic. He's in subatomic level of every atom. So he's in your arms. He's in your brain. He's in your neurons. He's everywhere inside you. You are a part of Krishna, both as a soul and the material energy is a part of him. He's under his control. He's very clear in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? So you don't have to have that faith. Krishna will help your child. So the mechanics, the attitude, Krishna sees, and he allows the mechanics to happen. Yeah. So the way we approach it physically is very important. You know, for me, it's like these days, it's like a party. It's like having an early morning party. This chanting is like the great thing, you know. And you know, I did 2 Saturdays, 2 weeks ago. I'm not expecting like this, but I did 16 rounds, and I said, I've done 16 rounds for you because you're so impure. Now you do the next 16 rounds for Krishna. I did 32 rounds. I did 2 sets. I felt better after the second set. So first set was good, but that's coming like after a long time. Like I was even doing about chanting 15 years ago, so and before that. So I'm doing a book on this in Japa, so we'll be explaining the book. But yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Is approach it like for me. Like I'm already thinking about Japa 7 o'clock day before, 8 o'clock next day. Everything is in order. It's like if I've got to go to the gym in the morning, you know, people prepare their gym bag. If they're preparing for long distance swim, it's trunks ready. They'll have the oil ready. They'll have a stretch routine. They'll maybe eat a banana or an energy gel. If they go to the pool at 4:30 in the morning because they've got to do a 20 kilometer swim, you have to sometimes train 3 or 4 hours in the morning, but they're preparing everything the night before. Japa has to be prepared like that to be effective. So when you get to that, like a sports professional athlete level, and then the Japa on the other side comes out, the product will be better. Of course it will be. If you spend more time doing your homework, you do better in the test. It's always the case. Yeah. So it's just the preparation is not there. And but think about this, you're going to do it every day. So quick, you're going to accelerate so quickly with the right attitude. It's attitude, just attitude. You know? Because what happens when you're first learning the habit, the mind's got the least amount of muscle, so that becomes the lazy thing you do. All the other stuff is already taking up your mental energy, but you don't know, over time you'll switch. The Krishna will be the most important thing in your day. Everything else will be on the periphery. Before, everything else is in the middle of your day, like 2 sources. My work, my life, my family, and paying my bills, and the Krishna's on the periphery, but he will switch that around. And then the japa, that's when you're going to accelerate your bhakti, because you're going to want to help other people, because Krishna will be in the middle of every day. That's the most important thing in the day. Therefore the japa is the most important part of that process. I don't know if that helps. Might want to add something, I don't know.
Yeah, that's good, Prabhuji. So one more question. Yeah, we are part and parcel of the Krishna, right? And yeah, so we have Krishna is a super soul, and then we are a soul, so not a body. And then we told like, yeah, as a Krishna, so he's an enjoy taker. And if we are part and parcel of Krishna, same soul, but maybe yeah, in terms of quality is the same, but in terms of quantity is different. But how can I understand like we are a So in the soul, we are why we are enjoy giver. How can I understand that we are enjoy giver, and Krishna is enjoy taker. So
Well, then, again, you will get your happiness, your pleasure from giving to Krishna.
okay.
When you get that happiness, it'll be like, imagine you've never eaten Indian sweets before, right? And you've only eaten, I don't know if you've seen cheese crackers, Western supermarkets, where they put cheese on them, they're kind of bland, boring. You're eating those as sweets your whole life, and then suddenly eat a sweet. It will be that big a difference. Yeah. So when you give to Krishna, you'll notice the strangest things will happen in your life. And you'll initially be like, wow, okay, can't be. And then it's like, it must be. It must be because of Krishna. You know? And I think you have to have the leaps of faith. Because everything that you're blocking is coming from the mind, which is part of the material energy, which is impermanent. The mind is impermanent. You know? One of the things that I like to say is there's a passage in the Bhagavad Gita, I think it's the start of the 4th chapter, where Krishna says, "Oh, I told Arjuna, you've had so many lives, you can't remember them. I've had many births, I remember all of them." The difference between the supreme and the marginal and living entity. But the things I say to people is, if you had so many lives, why so stressed about the mortgage problems in this life, and the family stresses in this life, and the children and parents in this life? You know? Because you're going to have so many of those before stress, and so many new stresses will come in the future, from new mortgages, new parents, and your friend might end up becoming your mother or something, who knows, next life. So why stress about what's impermanent here? That's one of Prabhupada's clearest, most profound messages. These things are temporary. What you're attached to, these anxieties that you're actually attached to, because you're seeking pleasure and anxiety, because you want to be a pleasure taker, so you now seek pleasure and anxiety. You don't need to do that. These are concoctions of the mind. You just let go of them. Let Krishna take over. You say, Krishna, you want to take it all away, and you want to throw a brick or boulder on my head from the sky? I still love you. I don't care. You take me. Let go. Same problem with japa. People let go. Let Krishna in the room, for God's sake. Let him be a part. Let him be part of the mantra. Let him be there in the mantra. So God be rushing over the mantra. You're not putting mouthwash in your mouth. Well, God, I couldn't let go. If you want to love someone, you've got to let go. Come on, man, love me. Get off me. Yeah, Krishna likes you, man. You can't calm down a bit. Show some affection. Otherwise, it becomes like a weird stalker or something.
So, one more question. Like seeking pleasure in devotional service, is it the right attitude or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 9 types of devotional service. You can look them up I can text you. Hearing, chanting, remembering, so on. Kirtan, you got your deity worship. But the attitude has to be correct. Not for you, for Krishna. No, I want something. I want God to be my order supplier. How many times Prabhupada says this in the books and in his talks? Don't turn God into your butler. It's supposed to be someone you love. But if you're already asking these questions, you're progressing. It's not I think with the japa, plan 1 is to try and get up early and therefore go to sleep early. And then in some of those 16 rounds, try and do 1 round really high quality. If you do 1 or half of 1, you'll be able to do 1, and then in a year's time, you do 5 or 6, and then within 24 months or even less, perfect. You know it's perfect because you'll be looking for people to take a day off and do 64 rounds or something. You want to do it. When you want to do it, with that, you want to do it. It's not a task. Thank you. Thank you very much for your mercy. Okay. Right, turns off.
Kirtan Adelaide. Leave a like and subscribe.